Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your Monday show. It's 3 minutes past 7. The window is slammed shut. All that's left now is everything to either come out and it be revealed that what we've seen all day as speculation has in fact gone through, or it's fallen through. But whatever happens, we're here to discuss the transfer window that has been the summer window for Ipswich Town FC. We'll discuss the plan, whether we think it's a good one, whether we can see resemblance of one, most exciting player or player we're most excited to see, and of course the players that have sadly left the football club. And there is a link for you to get involved and have your say, but if you can't see it, just type ! Link and one shall appear. Whether you come on the show or not, that's entirely your call, but please do active in our live chat and leave as many comments as you can, and I'll get through as many as I can. We are partnered with Match Bingo and Stomach Osteopaths, but Matt, let's start with a definite departure. Ogbene has left on loan to Sheffield United. What are your thoughts on that one?
Probably a good move for Ogbene. He goes back to Yorkshire. He's obviously got history playing there, hasn't he, with Rotherham United previously. So an area that he knows. Funny one, isn't it? Because we've never really got to see Ogbene other than in kind of flashes. Last season gets injured against Brentford, out for the rest of the season. We see him in dispatches this pre-season. A few cameos here and there. He obviously played the Bromley game, didn't he? Stuck the cross in. That led to the Johnson goal in that.
Yeah.
But he's always just felt literally he's been on the periphery because he's been injured. But it also felt like it just feels like he was on the periphery of this squad for whatever reason. I don't know why. Certainly when you get someone like a Casey McAteer, suddenly comes in at 11, 12, 13 million or whatever it's going to be. It's probably going to be more than that with add-ons and things. It always feels like he's just sort of been in the shadows a little bit. So hopefully he can go out and get a season under his belt and then come back to us next season, or there's a deal to be done and he can go to Sheffield United if he enjoys his time there.
Yeah, an £8 million signing last summer. And then obviously the injury happened, Brentford away. The injury happened for Ogbene, which was fairly early in the season. And you're right. And then, of course, the additions to the squad means it's a numbers game. And there's a number of right-wing options now. So game time, getting him back fully fit, getting him back firing. Yeah, I think you're right there. That's probably the best for all parties.
I think really kind of like he last season, he's like the McAteer of this season. Because that was a signing that sort of came out of the blue. No one knew too much about him. And then unfortunately, injury curse strikes. We don't really get to see him play. As I've said like numerous times before, the most we saw him play was in that England-Ireland game on ITV. Where people like Mark Goldbridge on the watch-along were going, who's this Ogbene? Just signed for Ipswich. He's Ireland's best player. So, I mean, that gave you confidence in him, seeing him on an international platform like that. But it just wasn't to happen, was it? Because he gets injured straight after.
And while it wasn't a huge amount of minutes against Brentford before he sadly got the injury, he was looking decent in that game. And, hey, injuries happen in football. And sometimes, he won't be the first or last player to have to rebound from an injury. And hopefully he comes back and we can all see the player we signed this time last season. Another player potentially leaving. I say potentially right now. So you've watched on catch up, and it's been confirmed. It's because it's 6 minutes past 7, and I'll refresh it as many times as I possibly can. But until it's definitely confirmed, we won't talk about it in definite terms. But Al Hamidi possibly going to Luton for £3 million was something we saw today. Thoughts on that one?
People think we've overspent on McAteer. I would argue maybe Luton are overspending on Al Hamidi. I mean, look, we've said it before.
It's the loan, isn't it, that could become a permanent one?
Yeah. I mean, look, they're in a funny position, aren't they, Luton, in that they've got parachute payments in League One.
Yes.
That far down. I mean, they've brought in kind of Naki Wells, haven't they, as a striker. That Jerry Yates, who was at Blackpool, they brought him in, and then they do have Al Hamidi over the line. That's going to boost their striking options. So, like I say, they're in a funny, sort of luxurious position to be able to spend money. Whilst in League One, but yeah, I think that's probably the move Ali needs. That's probably the level actually Ali is at, and he arrives from League Two Wimbledon, doesn't he? Into a Championship promotion campaign, gets catapulted into a Premier League campaign. And probably this was the move he should have had 12 months ago, really, to go back into the Football League because he wasn't ready for Premier League football. But he hasn't kind of helped himself either because, like we said, like before the Carabao Cup game against Bromley. This is kind of his level now, isn't it? Show us what you can do. You're a step above this now. And he didn't step up at all, did he? And I said after that game, I would argue whether or not he'd have got into the Bromley team, really. And it was just unfortunately he had the chance at the end, didn't he? At the far post, and he couldn't convert it. Then unfortunately he misses the pen. I mean, for the limitations in his skill set, what I do like about Al Hamid is his attitude. I said this about McAteer yesterday. You know, that goes a long way with me. People who want to wear the shirt and get involved and put in 110%. I think that's great. And that can cover up some limitations, but unfortunately it hasn't really worked for Ali. So I think that's probably a good move for him. And I would encourage him, you know, if he has a good spell at Luton, to look, they're going into a new stadium in 18 months, 2 years or something. So maybe that's a team that'll be on the up again. So they've put all their parachute payments money into that new ground. So that could be a team on the up, and it might suit him. He can grow with them.
As opposed to joining a football club that finds itself in the Premier League very quickly, and then the expectation changes, the squad changes, as we're seeing throughout the course of today in terms of squad change. Rob says getting no backup for Matasiwa, concerning for Rob. It could bite us in the backside. All departures, says Shabby, were sensible. Shabby says 9 out of 10 for the transfer window. We've got lots of comments coming in, so do keep them coming our way. We'll get through as many as we possibly can. There's also a link in the chat if you want to come on the show and have your say. Colin earlier in our chat said in regards to departures, which we'll come to in a moment. I'm just going to start that because we're going to come to that player in just a second. Mike, on paper, I think we're stronger, but as we know, footy is playing on grass for me. It's a yes, we're better, but only time will tell. Once everyone is fit, we have a better idea of how we shape up. Good comments coming in. Next one, Luke Woolfenden. This was on and off. You know, this was talked about most of the last couple of weeks. You know, will he, won't he? Looking like he may well be going to Coventry, Matt, which if you think the potential fee for Ali down the line is a good one, then you may not like. Well, I've seen 2 fees rumoured.
2 floating about.
Attached to Wolfie's name, 4 million and 7 million. I much prefer the second one.
I mean, we were kind of debating how much he'd actually warrant as a fee because we've never thought about him leaving.
Well, if Ali's worth 3 million, Wolfie's worth more than 4.
I think I lowballed him when I said 2 million. So we're getting double that.
Really did, yeah.
7 million, I think, is probably worth it. That's a good move. Look, traditionally, what's the saying? Being sent to Coventry, normally a negative thing, isn't it? But I think that would be a positive for his career. Plus, you get to obviously look, the incentive there is Frank Lampard, isn't it? Frank Lampard's Coventry City. That's the incentive, isn't it? Go and play for a real England footballing legend, and probably be part of the starting 11, which he's not here. No, which is harsh on him, as we said yesterday, because O'Shea and Greaves look like strangers to me at the moment. And our defending against Derby suggested that, but you're not going to shift O'Shea out of the side because he's the captain, and that's where Morsey leaving has hampered Wolfie. Because O'Shea's in that kind of almost undroppable position now, in that he's the skipper. And we see that McKenna has always been faithful to the captain. I mean, look, how often did Morsey ever get dropped? He was probably just rested, or he was suspended and couldn't play. Very rarely was subbed, was he? He wasn't very rarely subbed. So, I mean, that's how all in McKenna is on his captain. I'm sure he'll be like that with O'Shea. He keeps the leader on the pitch, doesn't he? Reduces Wolfie's options.
It's a fair point. Morsey was one of the mainstays in the squad. Certainly, it just leaves you very short in centre half options. Which, you know, and the thing is, we've got 4 right backs, which is ludicrous. 4 right backs. You know, Harry Clark, Ashley Young, Ben Johnson, Darnell Furlong. So you're not going to see O'Shea at right back hardly if ever with 4 right backs already there. So you're not even going to say, okay, well, to keep O'Shea in the team, let's slide him to the right. Then we can bring Wolfie in. So with O'Shea certainly in that position, that does limit the right-hand side centre-half options. But past O'Shea and Greaves, you've now got Capre and Baggett. Baggett will stay at the football club and be your 4th centre-half, which, you know, we're used to the 2 centre-halves play at the moment. Does that not concern you that your 4th choice is no longer Cameron Burgess? It is
I'm about to say that. Where's Cameron gone? Yeah, exactly that. He's gone to Swansea. I totally agree there. I mean, look, Kipre is right-footed, so he would suggest that he could play either side of that as a centre-back. But at West Bromwich Albion, even though he's right-footed, he played on that left side. Yeah, I mean, I've seen people just talking about women. I mean, we've mentioned here, haven't we, about McKenna dice rolling? I mean, he's doing that on those options there, I think. I mean, could you play Ben Johnson in the middle, maybe, if needs must? Possibly. But, I mean, that's square peg, round hole, really. But I mean, look, McKenna does go to those options sometimes, doesn't he? But yeah, you've reduced you've now got your Greaves backup now is either Kipre or Baggett, and the O'Shea backup is Kipre. Right?
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
That's it now, isn't it? And then we've got Darnell Furlong, like you say, and Ashley Young. And
I mean, Darnell Furlong can play centrally in an emergency if you should need to, but it still limits your options. And it's always a shame to see, you know, a lad like Wolfie, a local lad, leave the football club. A lot of people have a lot of affection towards Wolfie, but he wanted a new environment, a new challenge. So, you know, you've got to. It's the lack of options coming in. But then when you've got 4 right backs, you are limited in what you can do. Yeah,
absolutely, you are. But also, you know, this is coming. McKenna's team selections are coming to bite him on the bum now. We can't expect Luke Woolfenden to want to stick around when he's not playing games. And he was in and out of the side last season, did okay, I think, and he's not featuring at the moment.
Yeah.
So for all of us to sit and go, please don't let him go. When he wants to go and further his career, as we always say, the player is in the player's business. Liam Delap was in the Liam Delap business. Amari was in the Amari business, and Luke Woolfenden wants to further his career. He's in the Luke Woolfenden business. So off he goes, and good luck to him. Look, we don't know such anything. He's been great for us. Come through the academy, local boy. I mean, that's always what hurts, doesn't it? Like the local, like with McAteer leaving Leicester, I guess, going off to pastures new, having come right through the system as a primary school kid. Ditto Woolfenden, but if you're not going to play him, your loyalty only goes so far.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Sorry, I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat because.
Yeah, I've noticed this. We'll get it sorted, Colin. Don't worry.
1 minute, Colin. Let me just. There you go.
Colin Doppelganger in there. Goodbye. He's gone. Will the real Colin Brums please stand up?
I just select the right one, right? Just say hello, Colin, in the chat. Select the right one.
Yeah.
So apologies there. Okay, on to the next one. This one might be is a little bit different in the sense of he was in the starting 11 as recently as Saturday.
Yeah. Oh my God. This is the one that's going to hurt, I think.
This is Conor Chaplin, possibly. Yeah. I'll say possibly again. If you watch this on catch up, it's 7:15. It's not yet been confirmed. However, possibly leaving on loan to join Portsmouth. Conor Chaplin, your thoughts on that one, Mr. Phillips? Because that one's sent the cat among the pigeons on social media. But I can see that
you've got an argument. You've got an argument for the logic. Well, you start with the argument for why.
Well, I wouldn't say there's logic to it. I'm just trying to.
Yeah.
I can see the argument. I can see a little bit of the logic. If you look at the attacking options you've got Akpom who can play 10. You've got Egley who can play as a 10 if he needs to. You've got Schmodix who's a 10. That's 3. Conor Chaplin is your 4th. Now, he started on Saturday. It doesn't matter to me. Well, let me change that. It matters to me, but it obviously doesn't matter now. He's gone in the sense of he's the player who can move the ball quickest. Yes. He can make things happen. Yes. The club have decided to go with the options of Egley, if that's one option they see as a 10, Schmodix and Akpom. I am surprised, but in terms of a numbers game, I can see the argument for.
Makes sense now when you lay it out like that. The problem is we're all emotionally invested in Conor Chaplin, just because like he's been on this show for one thing, right? He's been on here, which was fantastic. He almost comes across like a wolf. It's almost like he's been with us forever. Like he's had so much success with us. And again, credit to Paul Cook. He told us on this show, he joined Ipswich because of Paul Cook and their time at Portsmouth. And that's coming full circle. He's going back to Fratton Park, potentially. Or if you're watching it on 24 hours later, he's gone. But we'll have to wait and see. But so that's a good move club-wise for him, because you might recall when we went down there and beat them 4-0 or whatever, he was very respectful, wasn't he, when he was down there? And I think he got subbed, didn't he, on the opposite side of the pitch. They all gave him a standing ovation as he walked around. So he's still, he's obviously still well respected there. So the move would make sense for him. And you've got to think that he's going to be in the team all the time. That free Portman Road under McKenna, there's no guarantees who's that's going to be, is there? And we debated it yesterday. He subbed all 3 at Deepdale. They weren't that great, really. As much as I love Conor, they weren't great, really, against Derby. And then you go right back into the Premier League campaign, and that they were the 3 positions being tinkered all the time. Who would sit in the 3 behind? Invariably Delap, wasn't it? And it was. I mean, look, Conor even disappears for a few months, doesn't he? I mean, he starts the Liverpool game. And then he comes back in, doesn't he? Let's go back to that Brentford game, the Benny injury game. He comes in and there. And I think captains the side, doesn't he? Because Moulsey was missing for that one. And I think he only came in because someone was poorly from memory, and he actually played pretty well in that. But again, he was a bit of a periphery character last season. But you go back even further to the Championship promotion campaign, joint top scorer with Broadhead. So we know he can score goals at this level. But then I guess goes back to your argument. We know Akpom can score, and we said it yesterday, 28 and 37 for Borough. And Smodics, 30 goals in all competitions. The season's all up.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. There is still proven quality at this level within the squad. Akpom, Schmodics, proven quality. And then you're mixing it in with some unknown production at this level with McAteer, Egley. You know, you can see the reason, whether you agree with that reason or not, you can see the reason behind perhaps allowing him the opportunity to go and play first team football out on loan at Portsmouth. I'm surprised and perhaps they tried and couldn't get anyone to take him up on a permanent and get some money for him, because I think it's, if not the last year, it's certainly the second but last year of his contract. So it's coming to the.
To me, whether or not there's an option there, I don't know, but I do think I think we're getting close to that.
But the football club have to realise they're not, and what I've noticed over the course of today is actually not a lot of football fans of any club are happy, in the sense of, like, if you see a Leeds United story, there's a number of comments on there about are we signing anybody, who's this, who's that, where's this player, where's that player, and if you dip into any club, I think you could probably find there's always that that we want more, need more, got to have more, why are we letting this player go, and all these different things. And
you're like that. You want to spend
I'm not disagreeing or not.
I get that. I totally agree with that.
But they've got the wider picture in mind, whether you agree with it or not right now. But what my point was going to be is what they're not helped by is the start to the season. If we had a much better start to the season, even just beating Derby on Saturday, or beating Derby and Preston and taking 2 points off Birmingham and Southampton, it could be a very different vibe right now. But the poor start to the season is not going to help any optics of losing quality players that are emotionally attached to us fans in Chaplin, in Wolfie, and co. So it's going to be a real tough situation. Wow. But then the only way you can get yourself out of that is by winning games of football. And this group now has to come together into the window, and it's all delivery on the pitch is what it turns into. Yeah,
I agree with you. And that narrative can even extend further if we draw with Sheffield United or they beat us or whatever in a couple of weeks. And everyone will be going, why did we get rid of Broadhead? Why did we get rid of Chaplin? Why did we get rid of Woolfenden? Because we've got no affinity with all the new players yet. We're excited about the new players, and I think they will be great players for us. But we haven't got the emotional investment that we've got in the ones I just mentioned, who were part of the League One campaign and the double promotion. I mean, you're ditching players that have brought success to this club.
And are very good players. Conor
Yeah.
Chaplin is a very good player who can move the ball with speed and quality. And we've really been lacking that. And I'm really sad to see Conor go, if he does indeed go. Again, it's not been confirmed as far as I'm aware. I'm really sad to see Conor go.
Yeah, I agreed, yeah.
But equally, as George says here, Chaplin scored 13 goals this level last term, was superb. Why'd you loan him out? Because you've got Sammy Smodics, who scored more goals than Chaplin did last time Smodics was at this level. You've got Akpom, who scored more goals than Chaplin did the last time he was at this level. You've got Egley, who just smashed the Championship fee for. Yes. You can't play, and you've got McAteer, who you just signed for 12 million. You can't play them both right wing. Maybe you've got an idea of maybe one of them right wing, one inside at 10, all those different options, different things that you can do. I agree, George. 13 goals at this level is great, and very in the same way to Broadhead. When Broadhead was sold, he scored goals at this level, and I was like, why would you let that leave your football club? I agree. Why would you let that leave your football club? But you have to also take a step back from a fan and say, I can see the whiteboard image of there's our squad. There's a phone call about Chaplin. Okay, maybe we can afford to allow him to go and get first team football. Do you know what I mean? Because they're looking at it so much more objectively than we are, with this huge whiteboard and counters, and they're looking at squad number and thinking, where are we deep? Where are we not? I mean, the 4 right backs will come to that, I'm sure, at some point, if not today, over the next 9 months. But you can see the thinking, even if you don't agree with the logic.
Yeah, no, I do agree with you on that one. I mean, you are replacing kind of like Broadhead and Chaplin with Smodics and Akpom. Akpom is a dice roll. We don't know. At the moment, we don't know whether or not he's fresh to the club. We don't know whether or not he can replicate the form he had at Middlesbrough that got him the move to Ajax. And Smodix actually hasn't even scored a goal at Pullman Road yet in town colours. We've been here over a year.
Well, that's true.
And his injury record is patchy. I mean, he hardly played in 2020, January right through to the end of the season, did he? After the injury at Coventry, where you famously said don't play him in case he aggravates that injury, and he does. And then we didn't see him again till the West Ham game at the end of May, did we? So
the thing is, you have to go back to what Mark Ash said at the start of the window, and this brings us around to our next point in regards to the transfer plan and the policy, and whether you've seen that play out, whether you agree with how they've gone about it, whether you don't know if there was a plan or whatever. But before we do, don't forget we are part with Match Bingo. Combine the excitement of live sport and the thrill of bingo. You're kind of 15 random events from a live football match, and you watch them get marked off as the game unfolds. It's a brand new way to enjoy live football. You must be 18 or over. Terms and conditions apply. Please, as I always say, whatever you do, gamble responsibly. Visit begambleaware.org for more information. Links in the description, or scan the QR code on screen to play now. And I don't think they've got any bingo cards on there that feature selling players you're emotionally attached to, so you should be okay. But I haven't checked every card, so I wouldn't like to promise you that one. James says Chaplin wasn't as good as the second half of our championship promotion season. He hasn't been since. But yeah, the transfer plan, they wanted to get more physicality. They were looking to bring players into the football club they felt could make the step up to the Premier League. Now, obviously, Conor had a shot at the Premier League. Obviously, had some injuries through that season as well. Maybe they're thinking, Egley, this is a player we view can be a Premier League player. McAteer, they've brought him to the football club, so you have to imagine this is a player they view can be good in the Premier League. They're evolving the squad, and I'm really desperately trying to find glimmer. And I can't.
It's too early for the glimmer.
Every time I talk, I can convince myself out of the glimmer.
Yeah. It's the dark before the dawn at the moment. I hate to say it. You've just got to trust the process. But they didn't pick Casey McAteer's name out of the hat, did they? Let's go and put 12 million on Casey. They would have watched him for a considerable period of time, wouldn't they? So you've just got, as I keep saying, people sort of cherry pick when they want to trust McKenna and when they don't. They sing it in the stands. We've got Super Kieran McKenna. That's exactly what we need. And then he makes a signing that as you said earlier, fans are never happy. Not sure about him, not heard of him, hasn't really got the stardust coming in. And people write him off. Do you know what I mean? Look, if he scores the winner against Norwich in October, folklore hero. He'll be loved forevermore. Do you know what I mean? So
very much so. That could well happen. Yeah, that could well happen. You have
like Danny Haynes. Danny Haynes wasn't a great striker for Ipswich. He ain't going to be in any Hall of Fame, is he? But for whatever reason, he used to step up in the derbies. And so much so that he still remembered all these years later. And was part of the video that introduces Nunes in. But no one's thinking Danny Haynes is a Ipswich Town Hall of Famer, are they? But in those games, he just stepped up for whatever reason. And hopefully McAteer can do something similar in order to get on side with the fans quickly. Look how long it's taken Jack Clark to do that. It was the penalty on Saturday. It was finally his moment after being with us for a season.
But that has to come on the field. And we said up before the Derby game, and certainly now the window is closed, all eyes are now on the man in charge of the ingredients, the man in charge of preparing the dish. You've got to stop burning the dinner, and you've got to deliver now, because Ashton's done his job. Whether you can get behind Chaplin going or not, whether you are a fan of Wolfie going or not, you've just signed a player who's the championship record fee. You've got Smodix in the building still. You've got Clark, who everyone was universally jump up and down in celebration when we signed him. Hasn't worked out for whatever reason. Jaden Philogene, people are saying, looks a different player here than when he was at Hull. You've got McAteer, you've just spent 12 million. The ingredients for this fantastic dinner have all been put together. It's now down to the players on the field and the coaching staff to deliver. And that's only going to come. Leadership, I've seen that mentioned today. Character, I would argue, clawing defeat out the jaws, clawing a point out the jaws of defeat twice in the opening month. That's some character. That's some character.
It is. ITFC's beards liking your food analogies. What a surprise.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry. It's dinner time. But do you know what I mean? You've got to now deliver, because Ashton can sit back and say, I've done my job. Now it's over to those that have to make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, when Paul Cook brought all these players in, everyone's dropping down divisions like Christian Walton, Morsey, Chaplin, Lee Evans. It didn't really. I'm going to have to say it now. I'm too far down the stretch of the sentence. It just didn't gel, did it? But for whatever reason, McKenna got a better tune out than what Paul Cook did, and these were players that he'd worked with previously.
I know about hair gel, mate. Don't worry, I'll send you.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, look, they're going to have to come together and start putting results because there'll be pressure on McKenna's shoulders. As we said yesterday, don't score that penalty, lose 2-1 to Derby. You know, if we weren't signing any more players before 7 o'clock this evening, it would have been all sort of meltdown city for me. Certainly yesterday's show would have been, I think. Back-to-back defeats for one thing.
But yeah, and you mentioned, and I was being serious, by the way, where can I send the gel that needs to make this team come together? Because I've got bags of it. I've got loads of it. Some people often say I put too much of it in. Anyway, we're going away from where I need to go to, which is what I'm going to say is you mentioned Norwich. We're only four games away from the derby.
Wow.
Which
yeah, of course, it'll be professional, right? Yeah, of course, yeah.
Makes the shiver up and down your spine right now, considering how you've seen us play over the last couple of weeks. Four big games leading into that derby. Because we've got to sort that form out. Got to get that first win on the board. Got to start forming these partnerships, gelling, all these different things.
Yeah,
every game is huge in the championship, and no game is bigger than the other. But only 4 games away. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
Sheffield United, Blackburn, Bristol City, and Portsmouth. Maybe Portsmouth before Bristol City. They're the 4.
Oh yeah. So Ipswich Norwich will be the 5th game on that midday on October the 5th.
Yeah,
I did say the other day, didn't I, that I thought once you've got all these signings in, let's hope there's some kind of cohesion in, and they can actually hit the ground running for the Norwich game, and then I can have my shellacking. I've waited. God knows how many years.
Some would say the way we're playing, you might get your shellacking.
Yeah, they're no great shakes, are they? I mean, they won at the weekend.
Did they keep hold of Josh Sargent? Give me some good news and tell me they did. Give me some great comments. Chat. Give me some great news.
I've not seen that floating around. He was getting linked to Sunderland, I think. There was a link there. I mean, he was getting links all summer to the Bundesliga, wasn't he? Who knows? Because some of these deals get done later, don't they? They just don't get revealed. The deal sheet is submitted to the authorities, and then you find out about it a little bit later. Do you remember when everyone kept thinking that they were still using fax machines? Which I ain't seen a fax machine since about 2001.
Yeah, I ain't seen a fax machine in a long time. But the only way you're going to have all these questions you've got about this football squad answered is on the pitch.
Yeah,
character, all these different things. The only way you're going to have them answered is, and you have got a few unknowns in the squad. You've got a player making his way into English football, 2 players making their way into English football for the first time.
Yeah,
McAteer, who you brought in for a fee, and he's going to be one of the starting options on the right hand side. Yes, Egley will probably be the starter, but McAteer will be, first replacement off the bench until Wes Burns is back, certainly. So there's that, you've got to contribute to the squad and get everything going that you need to get to even try and push a record fee in the division starting place. A lot of question marks, but it's early days in the season, and if you can't look at every player and think there's a reason why they've been brought in, or can you not? Is there, can you look at every member you've brought in and think there's a reason why we've done that, as opposed to a couple of seasons ago where you may have said this time of year, it's a panic. It's a panic. It's a panic.
Yeah, I would say there's reasons behind all of them, really. I mean, Matasiwa is your Morsey replacement. Kipre, obviously, for Burgess. Young, the experienced head, now Morsey is gone. Cahuste, everyone liked from last season. So that was kind of a fan favourite loan to go into that midfield. Akpom, great goal record. McAtee is probably the one with the question mark. There's not, as I said, he ain't come with any bells and whistles. We don't know too much about him. And Leicester fans didn't seem that fussed about him going. Ivan Azon, well, you floated yesterday. You like the idea of maybe Azon and Akpom sort of in that 10 and 9 race, see how that works. Furlong at right back brings a different look that we've not had previously. Maybe replacing the Twanzebe, brings the long throw in. So again, another set piece option. Nunez is going to be the quarterback. It's pissed off the Norwich fans. 5 stars for that one. And in Egley, it's just an exciting prospect that everyone's buzzing about and there's loads of hype about, and really exciting signing. So I think there's reasons for all of them. I missed out David Button. He's going to be your third goalkeeper.
Why? When was the last time the third goalkeeper played? Can you actually remember the last?
Isn't it? Yeah, otherwise Kieran Slicker would have been getting games, isn't he? Do you know what I mean?
But even a minute. I mean, even a minute of an actual league game. When was the last time at this football club the third goalkeeper actually? Did you need to register 3? I mean, could you not just put an academy player as your third, and then just had another place for an outfield player, maybe a fifth right back?
Yeah, well, maybe exactly that.
Anyway.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Yeah, good point. Well, we can't ask the manager that, unfortunately, wouldn't we?
No,
but we would if he was in there. Yeah, it's a very good point. Yeah,
we're not allowed. 5 goalkeepers and 4 backs on the books, and yet only 2 strikers, says Sam. You'll look silly when we play against a team with 4 left wingers, won't he, Sam? You know, when we line up and there's 4 left wingers, we play. That's the opportunity for our 4 right backs. Colin says John Jackson.
Oh well, that's going way back when. I mean, I remember we played. Who was it? Who went in goal in an Norwich game? Mike Pollitt. Remember Mike Pollitt?
Was he?
I think he got drafted in and then he never played again. Paul Gerrard.
Paul Gerrard was that an emergency loan?
Yeah, it might have been actually. Might have been. Yeah. Can't we do that anymore? Rather than have Gerrard was one, wasn't he?
When you're up against it in terms of registering 25 players, did you need to have a third? When it's not like it's a regular
spot, doesn't it? Yeah, I do.
Well, Mike Pollitt was great, but is it a regular occurrence that your third goalkeeper at this football club, particularly, but any football club, plays a lot of meaningful, if any, league minutes? I don't think it is.
Certainly, when really the narrative of him coming in was to be some kind of a coaching role, wasn't it? Replacing David Ryan, effectively. He never got. I don't think he even got registered as the third keeper last season, did he? Well, no, Slicker, wasn't it?
You're not in the cup anymore. And if you do need to have 3 goalkeepers registered, which you may well do for EFL rules, just name an academy. If
they're not being loaned out.
Well, they're not all loaned out. The under 18s are not playing a game tomorrow. This week. There's no one in goal. There'll be someone in goal who's got a pair of gloves.
Well, surely Renee Gilmartin could just step up for 90 minutes, couldn't he? If needs be. He's a big unit. He could do it.
Register me, mate. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Matt Holland went in goal. I mean, now we're going way back.
What game was that? Was it Tranmere? Was it? Who went in goal when Wrighty got injured and it was Sheffield United? Was it Sheffield United or Oxford?
We're going way back. How many subs were back then? 3?
Yeah.
Now you've got 9 subs. Anyway, all right, we'll move on. We've got Lee Anderson joining us. Lee, welcome in. Let me just change the overlay. There he is.
Hi, Lee.
Lee? How are we?
I'm all right, actually. Yeah.
Not
too bad. It's not often you see Wolfie and Chaplin leaving the same window. How can I be all right?
Well, you've got to get a grip of yourself if you're really despondent about all this, really, haven't you? Because neither of them were ever going to play for us in the Premier League again.
We've got to get there, firstly.
You do, but you've got to build on the understanding that you're going to push for the Premier League. So you've got to replace those players with players that you think are going to get you there and keep you there. And that's the difference. And let's be fair, Wolfie wanted to go. So why would we stand in his way if he's playing second fiddle? He's been a great servant. Let him move on. We've got a fee for him. I see a lot of people are moaning about the fee. We've got 4 million for our second string centre half.
No, that is cheap. Come on. Oh, come on, Lee. That's cheap.
Who's played?
We lost Burgess for nothing, Lee, didn't we? I mean, Burgess walked away with those.
He had no contract, though, and he wanted to go. So we didn't, we paid more for Burgess, I think, than we did for Woolfenden, because Woolfenden was one of our own. But you can't stand. You just cannot stand in his way. So I think that was always going to happen once he said he wanted to go. Chaplin surprised me because I was on here a couple of weeks ago saying, I think he would stay. And then after seeing him start on Saturday, you're thinking, well, he's not going. But then when you look at how the squad has panned out, and we've now got 6 right backs or whatever, some of the stupid odds 4.
It's going up as we speak. It'll be 7 by then.
Going up as we speak. Yeah. There's 2 in the youth team. So I think they expected Johnson to go, didn't they? Someone to come in for Johnson, maybe?
Yeah. We thought that. Me and Mike thought that as well, yeah.
So I wonder if Johnson would have gone, then if Chaplin was happy to stay, then maybe Chaplin would have stayed, because that would give us more options. But someone's got to go out of the squad. So that looks like it was Chaplin. But Chaplin's not going to play for us in the Premier League again. Either.
There's a recall option on him, isn't there? I think they're saying.
There
if
is,
he
yeah.
bring him back in January. If we've got like the inevitable injuries, that seems to follow us around.
I thought he was one of our best players on Saturday. So I'm not knocking him, but at the end of the day, the club, the football has to evolve. We have to move on. The team that we had in the Premier League last year wasn't good enough, so it's almost like we've got to start again. And I think we just have to be realistic with what we've got. And also, then when you look at the players that we do have at the club now, again, like when we moved into the Premier League, all the players that came in, with maybe the exception of one, the goalkeeper as such, but most of them, I think everybody accepted they were upgrades on what we had in the building at the time, the team that got us there. And now to move on again, are the players that we've now brought in upgrades on what we've got? There might be a few that debates, but most of them aren't they? Or going to be. So the club just has to evolve. The club didn't want to, from what I've gathered, they didn't want to make so many changes as they have. I think Woolfenden going. I think they've kept Burgess on for that season, for another season. So I don't think they want to get rid of Broadhead. I think Broadhead would have still been in the door had he
good money as well. Good money from Wrexham,
and we've got good money for him. Have we replaced him like for like? I don't know. Is McAteer going to be that player? Only time will tell. But I think the club have done what they've been able to do well with the players that have wanted to leave the club, and we haven't messed about, and we've reinvested the money that we've got from our sales. So it's not like we've taken all this money on and only done a Luton, not reinvested all the money back in the club. We're still reinvesting, so there's still exciting times. I think we just all need to keep on there. We're just not used to it as Ipswich fans, are we? We're not used to buying players for millions of quid. Let's go back to the Wilkins days. Let's get the three up. Let's get the three up on the screen. We've got to move on, but
I'd rather not. All right, 3 questions for you, Lee. All right. So, one signing you're most excited about? Nunez. Okay. Is any other reason than it's because it's well?
I think I just think he's a little bit more. Well, I mean, Egley is obviously would be the first choice, but we've not seen him yet, and we've got to with him. We've got to be a little bit patient. I think he's even a little bit maybe behind where Omari was. When Omari first came in on loan, felt like he couldn't kick a ball. Every time he got the ball, he's fallen to the floor. And I think most people probably sat there and went, "Cool, what the hell have we bought here?" And it was a few months into the season, around sort of getting towards Christmas time, that we start to see the best of him. So I think with Egley, he is exciting, but I don't think he's going to be the player that's going to hit the ground running. I think we're going to have to be a little bit patient with him, and I think he'll be eased into the team. And if he hits the ground running and does a Rooney and scores a worldie from 35 yards and he gets on a momentum, then of course he will play. But I think we've got to be a little bit cautious with him, a bit careful with him. So I think Nunez for me, maybe in the number 10 role.
Okay. Second question. Any departure you'll think the club will live to regret, either short or long term, but is there any departure that you think the club may live to regret? None. Easy. And rate the window from F to A. F being a failure, and then obviously you got. I mean, I'm sure you know the rating system.
A minor.
A minor. All right.
Yeah.
A minor.
That's old school. And the reason I say that is I think we've missed out on Hackney. I think he would have been, and it's not because of the club's fault, but if it's a top rate, if we'd have got Hackney as one of our main targets, then I think that would have been an A star. And also, but fortunately, I guess, I think we made some inquiries with that Chelsea striker, didn't we? Who's now been recalled.
Mark Gouet. It's gone back again. Yeah.
So I think had we got him in, because I think he was one of our first approaches, then that would have been A star. But I don't think we would have allowed the recall. We wouldn't have. There's no way Ashton would have signed a deal to say, that Chelsea could take him back at any time. That I can't see that that's Sunderland being desperate to have a striker. I mean,
Okay.
how does that work? So yeah, A minor.
Well, yeah. All right, A minor. So A minor, no player departing that you think will live to regret, and your most exciting signing you want is certainly for you anyway. You would have said Egley, but you've said Nunez. Leah, appreciate you coming on the platform. As always, a pleasure. Look after yourself.
See you later.
€5 from David. David, thank you very much. We appreciate the generosity that you've shown there. Thank you ever so much. We've got.
I was.
Go. Yeah,
just talking to Nunez, on my YouTube timeline came up because I clicked on that pink thing last week. There was more. They were talking to Norwich fans about outside Ewood Park about what they thought of Nunez coming to town. Obviously, that was all pissed off. But every man to a T was going, well, he's injury prone. It's a great, for someone who's always injured, it's a great fee. Well, let's have a little look and see if this is actually correct, right? Because like in 24-25, he played 35 games. In 23-24, he played 41 games. And in 22-23, 38 games. I would say George Hurst is an injury prone player. Those stats there don't suggest to me he's someone who's injury prone, particularly if they're missing just handfuls of games here and there. So that was just an interesting take. That was a narrative that you might believe, and then you actually look at the stats and you actually think, well, ain't that? We've had worse than that, haven't we?
Yeah, but
January to May.
As fans, as fans, we say all sorts to try and make ourselves feel better. We say all sorts, don't we, to try and make ourselves feel better. James says pressure on Sprite to deliver. Otherwise, I can see him going in January. He should be getting at least 15 goals this season, playing regularly. He does work hard. To be fair, fair point. Okay, based on the first question I asked Lee in regards to player you're most excited for, Collins said eagerly. Trevor said eagerly. Craig at Winchester said eagerly. So that's 3 eagerly shouts already.
Let's make it 4. That would be mine. I mean, look, it's exciting, isn't it? Because it comes with hype. Him and Nunez both get brought out onto the pitch in front of the 30-odd thousand on Saturday, and he's broken a championship transfer record. I mean,
is that your shout then? Is it for? Yeah,
it is.
Okay.
Yeah, just behind that, Akpom.
Yeah.
If he can get that goal ratio going again, he got at Borough. It's only we don't give that too much attention because that was what garnered him a move into Holland, into the Netherlands with Ajax, and then he's kind of off the radar a little bit, isn't he? But had we signed him from Borough, 28 goals, 37 appeaprinces, we buzzing. He'd been brought out into the centre circle on Saturday, wouldn't he? I mean, it's only because it's a season removed, but yeah. So that's exciting as well. But he's at the moment, as I said earlier, it's the darkness before the dawn, isn't it? At the moment, we've got nothing there to kind of get our teeth into. Had he scored that goal against Derby on Saturday, where he sort of curled it just over the bar, and he was the one who made it 2-2. Again, going straight into like Martin Royce of folklore, debut goal, 90th minute.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So for you, it's Egley, and then it's Akpom in terms of the signing you're most excited about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The second question I asked Lee there was a player the club let go. Do you think the club may live to regret, both either the short or long term? ITFC Beard says Sam Morsey. David says Sam Morsey. James says Morsey. He said, in fact, James is so convinced that he's put it 3 times. 4 times even.
Oh my god!
James says Morsey.
It feels like right backs.
It feels like such a long time ago that Sam Morsey left. It's hard to believe it's the same transfer window, but it is. So your shout.
Yeah, they couldn't do anything about Morsey, could they? I mean, a great servant to the club. Captain of the side. McKenna's eyes and ears on the pitch. Gets life-changing deal put in front of him. They had to let him go, really, didn't they? I mean, I've got 2 names here. One I've already floated in previous shows. I feel like we could, where everyone's going, we got Matasiwa replacement. I would say Luongo. If you're good enough to play for Millwall and they're being touted as top 6, you're good enough to be a bench option for Town, is my opinion on that one.
Yeah.
And probably, I would agree probably on Burgess, given as we started the top of the show.
That's not the club's fault, though. They offered him the contract, didn't they?
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, that contract only goes so far before you have to say, all right, let him walk away. And look, he was never going to be, he'd never wanted to be sitting on the bench in a year that leads to the World Cup next summer and play there for Australia. As we keep saying, what's his starting point? Pretty much a veteran centre half playing for Scunthorpe, Ross County in Scotland. and his career could end at a World Cup. So, I mean, brilliant for him. But yeah, they're kind of big misses for us. I still stand by the Cahuste could play the CDM role. Matasiwa. We might have to. No one else is coming in.
You may well have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I think if the front players continue to misfire, I think Broadhead for me is one play you may in the short term, certainly, because there's so many times he came on in games where we needed something, and he changed the game. He moved the needle in the right direction. Just needed that 2, 3, 4 yards of space to get off a shot, to get you back in the game, or to rescue you, or to deliver you the points. And like the game on Saturday, for example, I thought was crying out for a Nathan Broadhead just to come off the bench.
Like the Southampton game when we went 2-1 down, and he got us back in, didn't he, to 2-2 that leads to Sarmiento making it 3-2. Yeah, I mean, look, what did we say yesterday? That spark is missing, isn't it? You saw it with Brewster, makes both goals, the pen and scores one. We just haven't got that at the moment. We just haven't got it at the moment. Whether or not that's the slow transition from the Premier League into the Championship, trying to bring all this new squad together. Maybe Eagley will be it. I mean, I'm expecting Eagley to be it.
But for as much excitement I've got to watching Egley play on the right, I still have question marks as to our left. And, who's going to take that shirt and be the starter and run with it?
Jack Clark now, maybe? Now he's got the goal.
Jaden Philogene. Somebody needs to step forward. We said last week, didn't we? You got lots of options, and as manager, you've got to be fair in how you give those chances to players, but players have to play themselves into happiness, and you have to want the shirt, win the shirt, keep the shirt, and refuse to let it go. And at the moment, it's very easy to sort of chop and change because nobody's really doing that much to keep, to say you can't drop me next week, boss. It's really difficult. So
yeah, you're kind of reliant on two players that haven't really set the world alight competing in that position, aren't you? Yeah, I do. I do agree with that. Listen, they've both commanded huge fees. Philogene's probably still our record signing, and Jack Clark isn't too far behind. What was he, like 15, 17 million or something like that? So look, he looked very bright when he came on Saturday and creative. I mean, it did cross my mind when he came on. Was like, is he the right kind of player to get us back into this game? Given previous performances,
he did really well.
As it turned out, he was. Yeah, so he proved me wrong there. So that's fantastic. Yeah. I do hope now he's got the foundation, having scored the pen in real under pressure circumstances, to now go on and claim the shirt, as you say there. But I am looking forward to seeing Nunes as well. I mean, the hype factor of that move, isn't it? Norwich to Ipswich. But the range of passing is going to be brilliant. I think, look, we've had a bad start, as you said, 3 points from 12. It's a bad start, or it's an underwhelming start to the season.
No, it's a bad start. Don't try and pretend it's but a bad start.
Well, it's a bad start with only one defeat, which is why I would say it's underwhelming. And kind of mirroring Leeds' return back into the Championship.
So had you won 1 and lost 3, you would.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, I get that. It's context of it, isn't it? But I do feel like that run of games we just spoke about there, very winnable games on paper, as we know it's not paid on paper, leading into the Norwich game. Hopefully that will be where we start finding our level. I'm sure it will happen. I can't see us being any worse than what we are at the moment. But who knows? What did McCarthy say? Can it get any worse?
Can't get much worse, can it? It can. It can. It can't get much worse. Terrible start, says AD Croucher. All right, last thing to do is obviously rate the transfer window. I asked Lee. Lee said A-. Don't forget we are part of Stomach Osteopaths, providing quality osteopath and physiotherapy services in Suffolk since 1985. If you want professional, experienced care, give them a call on 01449 613 633 and tell them Talking Town has sent you. Right, Matthew, rate the transfer window from F to A.
I think with the signings coming in from Wednesday onwards, an A, very exciting. I mean, how often have we seen players actually paraded out into the centre circle before kick-off? That happens very rarely. Didn't see this in the Dyer Cornell days, did we? There was no one in the stadium for one thing.
You need superstars to do that in the Dyer Cornell days.
Yeah, exactly that. So that's very exciting. I think it loses a little bit of sheen when you do lose players that you're emotionally invested in. That's not really the club's fault. That's how we just view it as a supporter's lens. There's obviously a strategy behind that. We just don't want to see what did Daisy say in the promotion Premier League promotion post? There's only 2 faces left on there.
Yes.
I mean, that's huge, isn't it?
That had to happen. That had to
yes.
happen.
Yeah. I mean, look, we discussed this yesterday. I mean, look, we keep saying this. Everyone goes, Ipswich could get promoted, they'll come back stronger. How do you come back stronger? With a new team. You can't be reliant on the players that got you relegated with just one home win.
The squad wasn't good enough last in the Premier League. People kept saying it's a League One squad in the Premier League, like etc. 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 This is the evolution of it. This is phase 2, if you like. Engineering
of that team. Yeah, absolutely. Look, no one will have any complaints about it if we're promoted at the end of the season. Top 2 back in the Premier League, and everyone go, oh well, there was nothing to worry about. So it loses a little bit of sheen maybe with like Chaplin and Woolfenden on their way out, but I certainly think the 4 signings, whatever it was, from Wednesday onwards, that was a star. I mean, look, you've broken the championship transfer record. You bought a player for the first time in about 40 years from Norwich to Ipswich. I mean, that's like a WWE move, isn't it? They've managed to get, look, we haven't even spoken about him yet. Ivan is on over the line. He looks promising. As we said earlier, Furlong, the throw, gives us a different look, different kind of style of a right back, more of a set piece threat there. Look, we're becoming set piece masters now. So it's on Saturday. So he's adding now to the Arsenal already.
Steady on.
Yeah, all right, yeah. I'm getting overexcited. Look, Mattassi was a really good signing. He's still getting used to it. I mean, you love Mattassi, don't you? Fantastic. Everyone, look, I was kind of critical of Cahuste last season because I thought he was too defensive. Hence, I think he could play CDM. He's come back to the club. So it should be a ticker tape played for him, given the comments we had. Oh, I love Cahuste. Well, he's back. So there's some good stuff there. There is some good stuff there. Whether or not we're still light up top, when you talk about players that have left, and of course there was nothing we could do about Delap leaving because the relegation clause was in there. But have we replaced him adequately is still to be decided. And if the injury curse that's followed Hurst around and Touchwood, it doesn't happen, we could just find ourselves in a bit of stormy waters there before January. But we'll just have to wait and see on that one.
Yeah, I think this, if I was never any good at school, but if this was a school report, it would very much say this is a B+ paper that with some real application could be an A+ window.
That's probably a good way of saying it. Yeah.
Because you have to take into consideration that the departures and the arrivals have all got the potential to be
potential. Yeah.
That potential has to be fulfilled. That potential has to be delivered.
Yeah. No point talking about it. You got to do it. Otherwise, we'd be sat here in May moaning that we haven't gone up.
Yeah, and what you said was very true when you said, you could look back on this window and say it all worked out for the best. It was a great window. You're absolutely spot on. But it's potentially really good, really exciting. Matasiwa potentially could be a good replacement, a better replacement for Sam Morsey. Egley could be a really, really good player that has arrived at our club as a young man. We see flourish and grow and develop into a player that moves on for a lot of money to one of the top teams in the country if his potential is realised. Azon looked an exciting prospect. Akpom, if he can rediscover the form that got him the move to Holland, that is going to be a fantastic piece of business. Like there's all ifs and buts.
It's variables, as we like to say. There's variables at the moment. This is the problem. And they're replacing players that have done it, like Morsey, captain of the back-to-back. Amari comes in, scored worldy goals to get us into the Premier League. They've all got history. Everyone joining us now hasn't got history. They've got to create their own, hopefully over the next 9-10 months.
Absolutely. They have to go and create their own. But it'd be a B+ that with some, was.
Okay. I wouldn't disagree with that.
Easily rise to an A. But in the other way, you could also see it go flying down and go, oh my days, what sort of window is that?
There's pressure now, isn't there? I mean, there's pressure on Nunes to perform. There's pressure on Akpom to find those goals. McAteer to win the fans over. Because like I said earlier, there's no bells and whistles around his signing. Eagley's only 19. Are we asking too much from him? Championship transfer record, introduced with the crowd, standing ovations, blah, blah, blah. It's got to happen. Otherwise, people can be very disappointed at the end of the season.
None more so than I will be, because I
Exactly
want
that.
to be back in the Premier League like yesterday. So I didn't want to leave. So I had to be taken kicking and screaming. I don't want to leave.
Yeah, I mean, look at the start that Sunderland have had. I mean, fair play to them. If you finish like they did, 70 odd points or whatever it was, fifth, I think maybe they were in all going out at Wembley, and then suddenly turned it round. They look like nailed on just to finish bottom to be a Southampton, but look, they've already got 6 points.
If it feels like the promoted clubs this year have taken the Town blueprint of last year and said, right, we're not going to do that. Let's just hope relegated sides in the future don't look at the Town blueprint of this window and say, well, that's how that's how not to do it. Let's hope they look at it and say that's how maybe
maybe there was lessons there. They looked at us and thought, well, they tried to pick the cream of the crop from the division below and get them to try and bring them together as an 11 in the Premier League and step up, and that didn't work. Hence the reason you've seen them go out into Europe. But then again, what if Sunderland got foreign ownership, French manager? Yeah. Maybe they've just got better scouting network than we have across Europe.
Yeah. But I just hope that clubs don't come down in future years and say, well, that Town blueprint of a couple of seasons ago, that's how not to do it. That's how not to continually.
Well, that is
evolve, and
that is live at the moment. I think that's how not to do it because it didn't work. So you got to find something else to do. But we didn't help ourselves either, as we said yesterday. Get tinkering with the side.
Yeah. Oh well. Yeah. Well, not this year, surely. Not with all these options, Matthew. We won't see too much tinkering this year, will we?
Well, the abundance of options, doesn't it?
There'll be tinkering. Yeah. Yes. That's probably something I can say will happen this season, is that the McKenna lottery draw will take place.
I think so. Yeah.
Tonight is Guinevere.
But you'd like to think that, because everyone's so excited about who we've got in the window, like you've got to think like Matasiwa and Nunes is going to be your two moving forward, and Eagly is going to be your one on the right hand side, and maybe Akpon's going to be your 10. I mean, if they can start putting results together, there's less pressure on Kieran having to keep tinkering all the time to try and find the solution. Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed.
All right, we're done, and look at that. Coxie is back in the comments, and he's already been told off by the Nightbot. Coxie.
Maverick.
Yeah, that Nightbot will tell anybody off. It's as you said earlier. What you said on Sunday? It's that AI stuff. It is. It is. The artificial intelligence has got you, Coxie. Yeah, that's it. Yep. It's got your number. For links and self promotion. Oh, Coxie, we love you. You can do whatever you like in the chat. Right. Got any more shows this week? Because obviously we're international breaking now, aren't we? So what's going on? Nothing? No more live shows this week. No. There's international break. The window is closed. If we're going to be doom and gloom again, ain't got nothing. Got no matches. Got no transfers to look forward to. Have to find hobbies. Find a good jigsaw. I wasn't even involved in any of the transfers, but I'm off to lay down in a darkened room for 3 days after the last week. It feels like I've been stressing every day about who we signed, who we haven't signed. Have we got this video done? Have we doing this live show? When we're doing this, I'm just find some terrible TV, put it on, and just fall asleep in front of it. I think. Fair enough. Sounds and then wake up 10 minutes later and say I was watching that. Yeah. I was resting my eyes. Resting my eyes is the killer. Resting my eyes. 2 hours later, where's the time gone? It's 3 weeks later. Right. He's been Matt. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for watching as well. Matt at the pub said he'll do a watch along. Excellent. We will get Beard wanted me to do a watch along. This is still up for debate and discussion. Yeah. There's no debate and there's no discussion. He's doing it in the story. Tommy said, I think sometimes you guys are happier chatting with us. Absolutely, I'm happier chatting with you. That is it, Dom. This is why we do the shows. This is why we do the shows. Yeah, it's all about the community. Kev said, I thought you said 8. Gutted. Kev, it's all right. You can go back and watch it. I said 7 everywhere. Windows shuts at 7, which, by the way, I'm much more thankful of this year. 7 is much kinder than 11. Yeah, with Sky counting down and they don't do the yellow ties anymore, sadly. It's moved on. Do they not? But no, it's all moved on. I think the backdrop might be still yellow and everything, but yeah. Oh, well. All right. Matt Phillips, wonderful audience. Don't forget Match Bingo, someone called Osteopath. This show's been in partnership with them. But until the next live show, until the next video, you take care of yourselves. Take care. God bless. All the best. you clearly like what you saw. So here to subscribe,